Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching us from around the world. My name is Seun Akinlotan, and this is the Seun Akinlotan Show. Thank you for tuning in. And I want to know how many people we have online. So if you can see me right now, if you can hear my voice, please leave your name and your location in the comment box, and then go ahead and share this video with other people so we can have more people join and participate in this session today. Today, we're talking about the art and science of vision to reality. I'm sure you understand art, you understand vision, you also understand reality, but the question is, how do we move from vision to reality? I have a very special guest with us today that is going to break it down for us and help us to understand how to, move from vision to reality. And I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I'm still waiting for your name and your location in the comment box. Go ahead and also share with other people. We're going to get started right now. All right. Okay, let me introduce our guest. Our special guest today is none other than Mr. Curtis Jenkins. Is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Is the author of the book titled The Only Job Search Book You Will Ever Need. Mr. Jenkins is the owner of Jenkins and Associates companies, focused on real estate investments and management consulting. He's also the vice president of a global special chemical company. Okay. He holds a bachelor's degree from Temple University. Yeah, up school. And a master's degree in the management of technology from the University of Pennsylvania. That's my dream school. He loves to travel, he loves to play golf, and he loves gathering with his family and friends. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Jenkins. Yeah! Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. 1 second, let me welcome Bukola Amushan Olaleye. Says, hello, everyone. We also have Evelyn from Nigeria. And if you have not yet introduced yourself, please leave us your name and your location in the comment box so we can give you a shout out. Welcome, Mr. Jenkins. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic today. How about you?
I'm doing great and fabulous. Yes. And
good.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I'm so excited to dive right in. So let's get this party started.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Jenkins, I was reading your biography and I saw that your personal vision is change your world. You're trying to change your world one person at a time through meaningful and impactful engagement, creating a positive experience at every encounter. Oh, that seems long. What inspired you to have a personal vision? Because not a lot of people that I see every day have visions, not to talk of personal visions.
Right. So the inspiration, I believe, came from the fact that I've been a project manager for a long time. And I had come to a crossroads in my career about, do you become a CEO when you're a project manager, or are you just sort of working in a company, right? And what I realized is that I gravitated towards project management because things start first in somebody's mind. They have a thought, they have a vision, and then secondarily, you have to execute it and you make it true. So if you think about buildings, every building had to be thought first, planned, and then executed on, right? So when I took that, to the personal side, I said, well, what's wrong with the fact that I do this professionally? I'm going to do this personally. And so, yes. And at first it was to change the world. And I thought, okay, over the years, that's kind of ambitious, right? I mean, all of us want to save the world, change the world. We want to do great things. And I think that's just, as humans, we want to leave a great legacy and we want to do something. We want positivity. Yes. But I realized that I can only focus where I'm at. And so that's when I said change my world, right?
Hmm.
And so if you think about the rest of it, it's about when I engage, I want to be positively impacting. And so just right now, as I engage with you and engage with your audience, my world is changing. I'm getting better. I'm learning more. I'm getting exposure in one sense. I'm learning, but in the other hand, I'm able to share my gifts. So that's how I
Hmm.
change my world one person at a time. So
One person
having
at
that
a time.
vision, yes, right. That's right.
Yes. And it's like you want to climb a mountain, right? You don't
That's
start
right.
from the top. You start from the bottom of the mountain, one step at a
Yes.
time. So I love that concept when you said you're changing your world. A lot of us want to change the whole world, but I guess it's
Yes.
always a good idea to start from where you are and then keep working your way outside. Okay, so charity begins at home. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so Mr. Jenkins, you overcame some major challenges,
Yep.
and I'm just going to focus on three of those challenges. The first
Sure.
one is you had a child at an early age. I don't know what
Yes.
age that is, but I know that must have done something for you or made you to think about some things. And then something that struck me, you said that you lived past 25 years of age.
Yes.
What does that mean? Because most people, you opt to live long, but if you're saying that living beyond 25 years of age was a major challenge that you overcame, I know there's a story behind that, and I want to
Yep.
hear that story. And the last one that I would love you to answer is how you were also able to overcome the challenge of being laid off at work.
Yep.
So I'm going to repeat myself. So you said the three major challenges that you've had to overcome are having a child at an early age. So let us know how that happened and how it impacted your life, living past 25 years of age and being laid off.
Okay. So I'll start with the first one. I'll go in order. So imagine you're young and you say how it happened. Well, we know how how it happens, right? When you have a child, and the issue, or I mean, it ended up being sort of one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. So when you talk about overcoming challenges, I was a young parent. Now I have this child. I have this life that I'm responsible for,
Hmm.
and that was kind of devastating. What I would do is credit my mom, because my mom did not just take the baby and just allow me to not be a good father. My
Hmm.
mom forced me to do all the things that you don't like to do as a parent, and I wasn't.
Diaper.
Oh my goodness, changing diapers, getting bottles ready, all the things. And the child, I learned this term called colic. She was colicky, so she cried a lot, and I used to cry a lot, saying, "What am I doing?" But it ended up being one of the best experiences, because it took me from being playful with my life to being serious about my life. Then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, it's like now I have to buy my own house so that my child can have their own room. And now
Hmm.
I have to change my ways. Partying so much anymore is not, what I aspire to
It's not
do.
part of the options. Hmm.
And then, I thought that I disappointed my family because I didn't do the traditional route, right, of things.
Hmm.
So what I've learned is those are things you can overcome if you just focus on the right things. And my focus at that time was to make sure that my daughter, had everything that she needed,
Hmm.
and that I was going to be a good father. So but it was devastating at first. So that was the first one.
Okay.
The second one was about growing up in North Philadelphia, and North Philadelphia is notorious for just being a tough neighborhood to grow up in.
Hmm.
And the news at the time, so I grew up in an era where there were gang wars all the time. And there used to be these slogans in the 70s, right? I'll never forget, no more war in 74, keep more alive in 75, right? But
Hmm.
the newspapers kept putting all these statistics out in magazines, and they were saying, look, your chances of living past 25 growing up in this neighborhood is not good. Well, you
Hmm.
grown up and you think, wow, is my life going to end in a couple years or a few years? Or so seeing your mortality right there with that number, I just
Hmm.
wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be a victim of that. And so it shaped my behavior. It shaped where I went at night. It shaped, what I did when I was in the streets. It
Hmm.
shaped, making sure I didn't get in trouble with the law. Just anything that kept me from getting past that milestone. I wanted to make sure that I wanted to do that. So that's where that came from. All the
Okay.
rhetoric, right? And
Hmm.
number three was getting laid off. So that
Yeah.
happened in 2002, and that was sort of the base inspiration for my book.
Hmm.
And something like getting laid off had never happened to me before.
Okay.
And so I was devastated. So what am I going to do? And then I remember having a family meeting
Hmm.
and my son looking at me saying, Dad, does this mean we're going to be poor? And I
Hmm.
would think, wow, I mean, to think about it, his life, he had a good life. So he never had to worry about what poor meant. But the me losing my job is sort of devastating enough that my family's feeling the impact, my immediate family, as well as my extended family. There were a number of people calling in thinking, wow, Curtis lost his job. So what I learned is that I didn't have the support that I needed, nor did I have the confidence that I needed to just keep moving on. And so from that day to
Hmm.
now, everything that I do, right, is creating visions, create a nice vision for myself, even for my job. I got the vice president job because I created a vision for that and just did everything I could one step at a time to get there.
All right. We're going to talk about that vision in a minute
Yeah.
because I want to hear about it. We talk about visions all the time, but it's hard to find someone that can actually sit down with you and
Yep.
explain the step-by-step process of, going from that vision to reality. And I guess that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
So let me move on to the next question. Let's move on from, challenges, and let's talk a little bit about success.
Yep.
You've achieved quite a number of things, and I give you the kudos. You own a business. You're the vice president of a global chemical company.
Yep.
You wrote a book, just to mention a few. And it's like when you look around you,
Hmm.
it's hard to actually go from point A to point B. So, what truly, truly inspired you? I know you mentioned your uncle at some point, but what truly inspired you to rise above average and just decide to build a better life for yourself and other people around you?
That's a very good question. So, as I was growing up in North Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
it was an all black neighborhood, and everything you did was self contained, so to speak.
Okay.
And
What do you
but
mean by
there was
self-contained?
self contained. Your church is there, the store you need is there, um, everything you need. You don't have to travel, you don't have to go anywhere. Everything is right where you need it. So you
You have
got your own little bubble.
you.
Yes. But
Okay.
I know in life that there's so much more. And I was afforded the opportunity to go visit my uncle who was in the Air Force. Uh,
Okay.
and so that got me on a plane for the first time at the
And
age of
what
15.
state were you residing at that time?
What's
What
that?
state did you travel to? Where did your
Oh,
uncle live?
it was to Illinois. It was
Illinois.
Illinois. Yep.
Traveled from Philadelphia to Illinois. Okay.
Yep. And so I know that there was a world out there, and I loved that, the fact that I can go from one place to another. I know people I grew up with and still know people to this day that's never been outside of that contained bubble.
Oh, wow.
And much of it is fear
Hmm.
of the unknown, right? And so, when I grew up with my friends, we were very competitive with each other, and I knew that there was a world beyond. So then I would get on my bike and I would just ride places and I would ride places. If I told my mom to this day that while he was sleeping, I was, almost in another state on my bike. She'd be like, what the heck are you doing? But I was always trying to get out and explore more. So
Okay.
I just always knew that there was more. And so
So
to
when you
this day, there's always more.
when you got on that plane to travel to your
Yeah.
uncle, what happened?
Well, I threw up because I was used to flying. And so
Probably.
we just had to, oh yeah, I just would throw every time I get on a plane. But when I got there, house, the thing that I love about it is a house with grass. So that became my first visions. I wanted the house with grass,
A
like my uncle,
grass?
nice little house with grass. See, people take that for granted, but I grew up in the inner city and you didn't have grass. You had grass when you went to the park. You didn't have
Mm-hmm.
grass in your house in the front or in the back. So I thought that equated to rich people. I thought rich people had houses with grass. So I would love to go to his house. I would mow his lawn. I would do everything. Now that I have a house with grass, I hate it. I pay somebody else to mow the lawn. So I love the beauty of it. But the point is that started the visioning, right? It was, I wanted a house like my uncle's. My uncle
Okay.
also, being in the Air Force, he sort of had this command about him, right? Like everything around him and all the people just looked up to him. And that's what I wanted to be like. I wanted to have that kind of respect, right?
Mm.
So, a house with grass, traveling, having that type of respect. And so I sort of built my life around sort of those things, being able to see what I want and then going after it. And just like I said, every time you go after something doesn't mean that you stop there or it's everything that you wanted, because I do have a house with grass. But like I said, now somebody has to maintain it. I'm not that little boy that get out and mow that lawn anymore.
Yes, but you mentioned something that is really instructive. A lot of things we take for granted, and something as simple as grass,
Yeah.
having a house with grass can actually inspire you. So, first, what I picked from what you said is moving out of your current situation so that you can go somewhere else to see what's possible, see what people are doing out there.
Right.
There's a problem in my language that says that if you stay in your father's farm, you will think your father's farm is the biggest until you go out to explore other people's farms and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
something more out there. So if there's anyone watching right now, I would definitely encourage them that for you to be inspired, because some people say they don't have that inspiration, they don't have that motivation. For you to be inspired, sometimes it takes you getting out of your comfort zone, your natural zone, what you're used to, and just go out there to explore what we have. You don't have to have an uncle that is rich. You don't need a family member that is rich. Just travel, get on that plane, get on that cab, go to another state, travel, read, watch documentaries, and just do something fun for yourself. If you are just joining us, this is the Seun Akinlotan Show, and with me today is Mr. Curtis Jenkins. He was originally from North Philadelphia. Where do you live now?
I'm in Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania. I'm not that far.
Yeah. Okay, not that far, but it's a different place. All right, and if you have not shared this video, please go ahead and share, because we're going to dive right into how to turn your vision to reality. Before I go into vision to reality, let's talk about your book. So you were laid off in 2002, and you had mentioned that occurrence or that incident in your life inspired you to write your book. So I want you to tell us how you were able to move from being unemployed. What were the specific things you did? And then what should readers expect to gain from that book? And where can we get a copy?
Okay. So the specific actions that I took after my mourning period, yes, I'm human. I did suffer from this. And I just want people that have devastating events to understand, be human, be real, but make it short, make it quick.
Don't stay for a long time. Is that what you mean?
That's right. Okay. So, and I'm going to sprinkle some vision to reality. So I knew the type of job that I wanted and wanted to be in. So I'm a project manager. I wanted to move up to being a manager or director of other project managers. Okay. So now I'm laid off from a job. And so I can't get that vision until I get all these things in place. The first thing I did was I set up a plan. And that plan was that every day I went online to look for jobs, and then I developed a marketing plan for myself. I used a friend of mine's marketing plan that he used to get his own division as a president. And what I realized, I learned marketing techniques, the 4 P's of marketing. Product. I realized that I was a product, so I had to make myself the best product. That's why.
A product.
Yes, I'm a product.
Okay. Yeah.
Think about it.
I'm fascinated. Okay.
Right. The job is buying you. They're buying your services. You are a product.
Okay.
Right. And the next P is price. That's the salary. That's the negotiation. That's what you get. That's what you get for having the product. Right. You have to pay for that. So that's price.
Okay.
The third is position. You have to be, sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time. You have to put yourself in the right place at the right time. Okay. So we talk about mentors and sponsors, right?
Yes.
So that was the other thing. One of the things I did in addition to that was I built a network. I started serving other people so that other people could serve me. That's right.
What?
What's that?
You started doing what?
Serving other people. I would ask people, what did they need?
And you didn't feel like that was beneath you?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I am a servant leader. The reason I'm doing so well is because my network and the people that are with me, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we rise together. So my number one question I ask my team every week is, what can I do for you? How can I help you with your success?
Wow. I love that question.
So that's 3 of them. And then the 4th is promotion. And so think about, so there's promotion. There's internal promotion. Like, people are shy. They're afraid to promote themselves. But when you surround yourself with good people and you have served other people well, they promote you. So I've gone from looking for jobs to jobs looking for me.
Okay. That's smart. Wow. I need you to repeat this. And if someone is watching, can you just, put those key points in the comments? So you said that you adopted a marketing plan from your friend. And that's where you learn the 4 P's of marketing, which is product, place,
price,
and promotion. So you realizing that you are the product, even though you're looking for a job. So you're saying that I say something. I say we are all selling something. So it's either you're selling yourself, or you're selling a product, or you're selling a service, right?
Yep.
So you turned yourself into a product. You worked on your positioning, which is basically networking and connecting with others, serving others. I'm big on service, and I asked you that question rhetorically, like, oh, you don't feel like it's beneath you? Because some people feel like serving other people is beneath them. They can't offer anything for free, and yet they wonder why opportunities are not flowing their way.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. So at what point did you then get a job?
I got a job 2 months after.
Okay.
And why that's a good question, because what started the book was because I got the job so quickly. So one of the things, there was this model that says add a month for every $10,000 of salary, right? So basically, as a management professional, it takes longer to get a job. That was sort of this this formula. Well, I beat that formula, and I got it because I followed my plan. So part of my plan was I wrote down the names of 10 people that I knew every night that I was going to call the next day and tell them that I was looking for a job. And one person used to work for me. They reported to me, called their manager. I got the call it was a Tuesday when I talked to them. Thursday, I talked to their manager. The following Tuesday, I had an interview, and the following Thursday, I had an offer.
Wow.
So it was
a job through people that you already knew.
That's right.
Your network. You didn't have
to
go outside of your network, because it's easy when someone is recommending you than for you to be introducing yourself to a new person.
That's right.
So you made a list of 10 people
Every night.
every night.
Every
And
night. A new set of 10 people.
you didn't call one person, two people, and say, "Oh, I've tried my best. This is
No.
so hard."
10 people every night.
10 people every night. You remember how many people you ended up calling?
About 50 or 60.
Wow. All
And
right.
so the hard part was I had to come up with 10 names. I mean, I can go into the details. Like I ended up joining an organization, and the first thing I asked the president of that organization is, "Where do you need help?" I immediately became the program director for that organization, moved up into vice president of business management, then into president of the organization, then ran the entire organization as the vice president of strategy and planning. And so a lot of what I've learned, I brought up through this volunteer organization. Now my network is growing nationally and internationally. And through the work and through the serving, I'm developed myself as a product and a brand that when you have a problem, call Curtis.
Okay, I'm learning. But, it's interesting that, we're having this conversation, because you said you walked into that office and you said, "Where can I help you?"
That's the first thing I said.
You
Because I saw these professionals. How can I help? Where can I help?
Where can I help? So you weren't like, "Oh, how much are you paying?" You're not even paying me much anyway, so I'm just gonna give you like minimum work. Were you like,
No, I had to pay the membership fee. It was $75 and I didn't have a job. But I knew that this would be accretive. I mean, even when I wasn't working, I took some of the principles that's in my book. I took a class that cost $55. I mean, when you're not working, money is sacred, but I knew that this was going to be a great investment.
wow, wow. Thank you for sharing this. I am absolutely learning. So let's dive deeper.
Yep.
And you know what? Let's take a break.
Yep.
Come back. We're going to talk about how a lot of people struggle to turn their vision to realities,
Yeah.
and you give us specific and practical tips that people watching right now can use to turn their vision to realities in 2021. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Seun Akinlotan Show. With me today is Mr. Curtis Jenkins. He is the vice president of a global special chemical company and is also the founder of Curtis Jenkins and Associates. He's also the author of a book titled The Only Job Search Book You Will Ever Need. We've been talking about how to turn visions to realities. Mr. Curtis,
Yes.
all right. One of the things that I personally notice a lot of people struggle with is how to turn their vision to realities. They have this grand idea, they have an idea, but they seem not to be able to go from idea to execution. And this is something you seem to have a lot of control over as a project management professional. Could you please share some practical tips that people can use in 2021? We're approaching the new year. 2020 has been interesting. Let me use the word interesting.
That's a good word.
So people are looking forward to a fresh start in 2021. Could you please give us practical strategies, even if it's like 7 practical tips? I'm here for it today. So
All
give us
right.
practical strategies that we can use in going from vision to reality.
Okay. So, wow. um, I feel like I got to come up with at least 7, right? Let
No, no,
me,
no, you don't have to come up with 7. I'm just saying that take your time.
yeah, let me tell you the first thing.
What?
See this right here? This is a book that's almost like a diary.
Really?
Okay.
I
And the
can't just
first,
put it in my head. Why do I need a book?
well, so because the first thing is you want to start writing things down, right?
Really?
Yeah, you want to write your visions down.
Smart. I thought that I'm smart. Like, when I have ideas, it just stays in my brain and I can bring it out anytime. Why do I need a book?
Okay. You can choose to do that. And a lot of the people that I know that are I call them idea folks, and you need them. They're great entrepreneurs, but they need to
Mhm.
be paired up with somebody like me who's a great executioner, right? And so
Mm.
we all have our strengths, and it's okay when you're an idea person. But for me, I need to execute on that. So the first thing was I'm going to write down what my visions are and my thoughts, right? And so the very first page when I open it up,
Mhm.
and I wrote this down, the very essence of leadership is that you have a vision. It's got to be a vision you can articulate clearly and forcefully on every occasion. You can't blow a weak trumpet. And then right under that next is what is my vision? And then the rest of these pages contain my journey. So that's the first part. And that's you have to have a vision. So let me give you an example, right?
Okay.
So my I think an easy example is back in 2006, 2007. So this is right after I got my new job, right? I got laid off in 2002, but
Mhm.
I aspired to be where I'm at today. I wanted to run a global project management office, right? I
Okay.
wanted to work for a company that was global because I wanted to travel. So remember, I'm putting all the things that I love in the place. I love
Hmm.
to travel. I wanted certain perquisites, like a company that would allow me some flexibility, that I could work from home, that
Mhm.
they would pay for my cell phone. I wanted a company um, that would support uh, my community efforts, right? So remember when I talked about the organization that I ran,
Yeah.
BDPA, Black Data Processors and Associates?
Mhm.
I wanted a company whose values lined up to that, right?
Hmm.
To help in the community. And
Hmm.
and then to be more detailed, I wanted the position of director or vice president. I
Okay.
wanted to report to either a CIO or a CEO, and
Okay.
eventually I wanted to participate in the overall corporate strategy. And so
Ooh.
here I am, right? So the
Okay.
first thing I did, oh, and I had to be in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Okay.
So I started off with okay, so that's the vision. And you hear how clear that is, right? I can give that to somebody and
How
they
did
can
you come up with that specific vision? So usually people would say, I want a good job. I want a job that is paying me $100,000 a year, and that's about it. But it does seem like you are very, very specific about what it is you're looking for exactly.
yep,
How do people get to that point? So, are you saying that the vision book or whatever book you call it, you bring it out and you just start writing, right?
yep.
And after writing, what next?
So here's my personality. I'm embarrassed when I can't answer questions. That's just me. So if you think about it, I also have, after making sure I have a strong network, accountability network, right? And that's some of my closest friends, and we all do very well because we keep each other accountable. So I can't imagine having a conversation with any of these friends and I
Okay.
say, okay, I want to run a global PMO. The first thing they're going to ask me is why. And they
Hmm.
keep pushing me on my why. And that's the thing that I push people. Know your why. Why? And so I wanted to do it because one, I'm a natural teacher, But because I'm a project manager, it's the natural ascension. It is the ascension into the highest levels so that I can teach and impact others. This goes back to my personal vision. So I try to link everything up, right? And I learned this also doing a class at University of Penn. As an alumni, you can go back and take courses. But if you can take your circles, right, your career, your family, yourself, and your community, and kind of make them all converge together and articulate, then everything you do is going towards that vision, right?
So how do you find friends that are visionary or can hold you accountable? Because sometimes that can be hard to find. Like if your friends are only talking about parties or
Well, they used to be my friends.
so how did you change your friends?
How did I change my friends? That was deliberate too. So every year, and I do this, I clean out my drawers you can hear, I got a lot of processes, right?
Yes.
I donate clothes every year that I don't wear in a year, but I look at who's in my life and are they taking me to where I want to go? Are they part of that journey or are they taking me away from that? And if you're not going in that direction, we can
Yes.
still be friends. We probably talk maybe 4 times a year. But the ones that I spend the most time with, the ones who are on my goals, when I say I want to travel more and with these groups of people, that's part of my everyday. I'm only going to spend time with people who are going where I want to go.
But how do you find those people? I still want to know.
Okay, so how? I think it starts with who you are, right? You have to be somewhat attractive, in that people want to be around you, right? I think I'm attractive because I'm a giver and because I communicate with people and if I do what I say, if you and I met and I said, I'm going to meet you somewhere a month from now and we're going to have lunch, I don't have to write that. I don't have to call you and keep following up. I'll show up and I'll be there. And if you're there, then we've established trust, right?
Exactly.
If you're not there, or if you are one that say, well, you never verified, well, to me, I verified it as soon as I said it. So you have to be, first of all, you have to be a friend to get a friend. And you have to bring something to the table.
A friend to get a friend.
That's right. So that's the first part. The second part is when you start talking about yourself and they're talking about themselves, all of that stuff becomes attractive. If you're having one-sided conversations, it'll die on the vine. That's the same way when you're networking or doing anything else. Friendships will occur naturally because you have the same types of life plan and vision and things like that. So what's that? Birds of a feather flock together, right? I mean, it's a cliche term, but it's the truth.
Wow. Okay. I'm learning. It's supposed to be a show, but
well, I did a speech for DeVry University for their graduation speech, and I didn't give it a name, but really, when I think about what I said, the speech was, "You are who you spend time with."
Absolutely. Yes.
That's who you are.
Yes, absolutely. You're basically your best friend.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the people that you spend time with, if I can show you, I talk to teenagers a lot and I say, I can tell if you're going to be successful or not. Bring your friends and I'll talk to them for a minute and I'll tell them point blank, you're not going to be successful. And they're like, why? I said, your friends are not. What they think about, what they do, how they think. Yep. You won't bring them up. They'll bring you down. It's easier to come down than it is to come up. So another example that I do with companies, right, is when I'm showing, people wonder how do you deal with people that aren't pulling their weight? So imagine, I want you to imagine this, Shun. Imagine you got your arms around two people that you care about, right? And you're walking down the street. As long as you guys are walking, everything's fine. But imagine if you decided to let your legs buckle, what happens?
You stop.
Well, people are trying to drag you, right? If they want to keep going towards the vision, you stopped, but are they going to keep trying to pull you there? Now, every now and then we all need a helping hand. But if you got friends that you have to keep dragging everywhere, That,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
agree. You leave them behind.
I would drop them off and I would
Yes,
keep going
I'll
to that
see you
vision.
later. Yes, I agree absolutely. Everything you've said makes a lot of sense. And don't mind me when I try to pull your legs a little bit because I know some people are online and they're listening and watching. This is interesting. All right. So you put down your vision, you're specific about what it is you want.
Yep.
Then, what if you don't have capital to execute? So what
Yeah.
do you do at that point?
What if you don't have capital to execute? So a lot of what uh, so this is where I say study multiple streams of income.
Okay.
So yes. So look, when I was studying, well, I started studying wealthy people, right?
Okay.
So that's the other thing. If you notice, what I do is I see somebody and I'll go after it, right? I started studying wealthy people, and just going on YouTube, you go, what are 10 or 15 things I can do? Well, we all have some kind of talent. Well,
Yes.
I wrote the book partly because, mostly because I want to share my story, but it creates residual income, whether it's from the book,
Mm-hmm.
um, or whether it's from speaking engagements, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
What if you
one.
can't speak or write?
What's that?
What if you don't know how to speak or write?
What if you don't know how to speak or write? Now you're asking me really hard questions because I don't know the answer to that. But if we all have something we can sell,
That's
right?
true. Mm-hmm.
Right. So we talked about the other things that I've done, like my other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I created them to create multiple streams of income. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was a time when I talked about not having a job, I refereed football games because I was playing football, and I
Mm-hmm.
stopped playing football and I
Mm-hmm.
started refereeing just so I can have lunch money.
Yeah.
So you have to sit and think about how you can create a stream of money
Oh,
coming to you. And it's different for every individual. But one of the ways I said I'm not going to be worried about not having a job anymore is I said I'm going to also create a company. I'm going to take my gifts, package it, and sell it so that I can still help people and make things happen. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I
you
got
answered my question.
yeah,
You answered my question. And one thing I would like to add is, if you don't know anything you can do, you can't write, you can't speak, go and serve someone. Look
yeah,
for someone that aligns with your value, serve them, give them 110%, and then watch what happens. Even if that person does not directly compensate you, you would have added value to yourself, you would have better positioning,
yep,
and when you apply somewhere else eventually, you would get something out of it. So
yep,
that's just my own, policy and what I think about that when people say, oh, I can't do, you give them different options based on their personality, and they still say, I can't do this, I can't do this. So go and serve. Everyone can serve. You can serve someone. Look for someone in a place that works in a place that you would like to work, or has a business that you would like to create at some point, or you're trying to look for a job there. Just say, I'm here to serve, and give it your best, and then watch what happens.
Well, so you triggered something in me, and oh my God, when I'm talking to my children, it drives me nuts. But and anybody that does this, what you just said, when people say I can't, well, your self-talk is the most important talk that you have. And when you say I can't, you are right. But
Yes,
I
right.
always say to my children, let's stop having this conversation on why not. Let's talk
Mm,
about how we can. So
hmm.
when you talk about vision to reality, you can't get there
If you think you
if,
can't get there.
if you think you can't get there. But if you start thinking about, okay, I tried this, that didn't work, let me try this, and just focus on how you can, you'll
Hmm.
get there.
Eventually.
You, you will get there. Or you get to change. I mean, listen, as life goes on, your vision will change slightly here from there.
Hmm.
Everything that I've ever aspired to, I haven't hit.
Mm,
But I still did positive directions and then
mhm.
saw something better or saw something that fit more of my personality or saw something more lucrative.
Yes. So I'm going to follow up on one thing you said. You said that people can look for multiple streams of income, and naturally, 2021 is around the corner. And maybe perhaps we have people online that they weren't able to reach their financial goals in 2020 for one reason or the other, pandemic, lost their jobs, whatever. Maybe they didn't meet up with their sales goals, income goals, whatever, and they're looking to increase their income. I'm going to be very specific because now you're teaching us to be specific, right? So if I'm looking to increase my income by $20,000 in 2021, what should I be doing right now?
Well, the first thing is just do some math. So take $20,000 and divide that by 12.
Okay. And that 12 represents what?
That represents a month of money
Okay,
you have to
12
make
months
for the
one
year, right? So
year.
if you want to make 20 for the year, that's the month.
Let's say
Then
$24,000. So if I divide that by 12, that's $2,000 a month.
that's $2,000 a month. Okay.
Okay.
So now it's easy to digest because all you
Yes.
have to do is think of 2,000 a month. Now break it down. Let's just use an average of 4 weeks a month, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
now that's 6,000 a week. I'm
Uh,
sorry. I'm sorry. No, it's not.
5,000.
It's
5,000 per week. Yeah.
no 2,005. Yeah, that 500.
2,000 divided by 4 would be 500. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
500.
look at us. See, I'm not the math major, but listen. So 500 a week.
Okay.
Okay, what do I need to do to make $500 a week? Is it more overtime? Maybe not. Okay. Is it asking for a raise? Because that's not a lot of money, right?
Asking
Okay.
for a raise.
So let's say you're working somewhere and you want to make 20,000 extra dollars in salary.
Yes.
You can ask for a raise, right? The question could be no. I mean, the answer could be no.
Yes.
But you I'm talking about listing all the things that's possible, right?
Yeah, it's okay to ask for a raise, but I feel like asking for a raise means that you have something to show. So you have to show them the value that you're bringing to the table
Oh,
before you
I
ask
yes,
for a raise.
I didn't say that it didn't come with anything, right? I'm just listing possibilities, right? Because
Okay.
everything that we talk about, you got to do some work, right?
Yes.
So if you think about if you look around your house and you say, "Well, I got all this stuff. Could I
Mm-hmm.
sell this? You know, at this price?" Like that's. I mean, at one point, I had to sell some stuff when I was going through the unemployment thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to think about, well, what is it? And then for me, I'm a YouTuber. I'll jump on and say, what are the fastest ways to make $500 a month? And I'll just watch tons and tons of videos until I see something that I think I can do. Right.
Mm.
And then that's what I'll start doing. So the vision is 20,000 a year, but
Yes.
it breaks down into steps. And so
Into
the
something
reality,
and you can actually do 500 a week, sounds like, okay, yeah, $500 a week. It
right.
sounds better.
Exactly. So that's the reality part. Now, all I have to do is those steps I don't even have to think about the 20,000 anymore. All I have to
Mm,
think about is 500 a week. And if I
500.
don't make 500 this week, what do I have to do to make the 500 plus the extra that I needed to make? Or this week I made 1,000, but I don't rest and say I'm going to take this week off because there's nothing wrong with beating your goals. So that's basically what I do. I mean, your question kind of took the whole thing in a nutshell. 20,000 was the vision. I break it down into time components. And then what can I do at the smallest increment so that I build that momentum?
Absolutely. Wow. I love that. Oh, okay.
Now,
Cool.
just one thing that I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
You asked, where could people get my book? Right.
Yes. Mm,
And so it's available on Amazon, amazon.com, both
all
in
right.
ebook and in print.
Okay. Amazon.com, both in ebook and in print. Thank you so much. All right. I'm enjoying this. How do you connect with people? I know that you said, you can change your circle and whatever height we want to attain in life, we still need people to help us get there. And you had already said that if you don't have friends that are going where you're going, you should leave them behind. So, how do you connect with new people to bring them along your journey, or those new people bringing you along their own journey as long as your vision aligns together?
So, good question, and I'll tell you what I do. So, in addition to writing down my vision,
Mm-hmm.
I start writing goals, right? And this is the time of year that I refresh the goals that I have, or I start with new goals. But right after I have a goal that I want to achieve, so let's take real estate.
Mm-hmm.
When I wanted to create a stream of income through real estate, the first thing I said I needed was a community.
Okay.
So I joined two groups. I joined a group called the Everyday Entrepreneur, and I
Mm-hmm.
joined a group called Better Than Success. I just joined them, just like I did with BDPA. I just joined them. Okay. Then I would go to their meetings,
Okay.
and then I would look at the content that they have, and I would begin to educate myself. But then
Okay.
if I had questions, they already had things set up where I can just reach out through social media or whatever and ask the questions. And then
Right.
over time, people start coming together, and then you get a chance to present to the group. And now with both groups, so I'm invested in one group,
Mm-hmm.
right? And actually have a client from one, two clients from the Everyday Entrepreneur, but
Mm-hmm.
Better Than Success, uh, from my real estate lending practice, I already have a client there. And
Mm-hmm.
any question that I have about real estate is there. So I'm building relationships as they go. And there's two particular gentlemen from Better Than Success that I spend more time with now. And now we're strategizing together.
Together. Hmm.
So I
I
always
love
start with
that.
the community. Start with the community that's already doing it.
Start with a community that is already doing what you would love to do. That
Yes.
is absolutely brilliant. So you're basically saying that no man is an island. We need
No.
to identify communities that align, that have visions that align with what we have. And yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, this is so good.
And
So
you
if
get friends from it. I got some of my closest friends from BDPA, and I'm
mm,
growing other friends. So these friends come from that. It's
from
not
those
it's
groups,
not everybody. It's just one or two people.
yes. And then you also said that you present, so it's not like you're an inactive member. You just
No,
don't join the group just to
no,
join. You go
no.
to the meetings, you're active, you're presenting, you're showing yourself, you're positioning yourself, you're visible. Okay, good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so Regina says you can't get there if you think you can't get there. If there's anyone that is watching us right now, this is the show Akhenaton Show, and we're talking about the art and science of vision to reality. If you have any questions for Mr. Jenkins, please leave it in the comment box, and we'll be taking your questions. Mr. Jenkins, if there's
Yeah.
one thing, just one thing that you could do to impact your own world, right? We're talking about your own specific world. There's just one thing you could do, what will it be?
One thing to impact my world. I would say the number one thing, because this is something that constantly comes up, and that is to avoid distractions. We live in a networked world where news comes in on a 24-hour cycle. We get excited about things, and there's so many different things competing for your time
And
and
attention.
and attention. And so when I'm focused, things are going very, very well. And when I'm not focused, things don't go so well. So I'll give you an example. As as smart as I may appear, still human. So during the pandemic, during the lockdown, the stock market was going down, 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 down. And the number one thing people will say is, do not sell when the stock market is going down. That's when you buy. I know this. I've been around the experts, but I woke up one morning thinking doom and gloom and sold three major stocks that I still have. To this day, I have no business doing that. I let the world distract me. I allowed myself to become vulnerable. I made mistakes. So what I found is that if I can stay focused and eliminate distractions, then I'm at my best.
Wow. I love that. And you're so right. Distractions can easily get you in trouble just like that.
Yep.
That is amazing. Whew. What else would you like to say?
Well, I mean, first of all, I got to say thank you. Thank you for having me on the show, right? I'm just so enamored with what you have going on and people like you when you're bringing this to a community. You talked about your Nigerian community and having that. So I have a list of things to do before I die, right? So again, this is all part of the visioning.
The list.
It's all part of the visioning, right? And so I want to travel to every continent, and Africa is one of those continents. I want to.
Are you planning to visit Nigeria?
Well, let me explain. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay, so I want to fly. I want to fly in a private jet one time in my life.
Okay.
I imagine. So I'm visioning, right? I imagine being in Africa on the plane somewhere and kissing someone that I love, right? So I have kissed my woman in Africa, right?
Okay.
And I want to do a TED talk, right?
Yeah.
And I have two people I want to meet. One is Barack Obama, and another is a gentleman named Vusi Thembekweyo, who, after doing some research on good speakers, I really like this guy because he talks about how small businesses need to stop thinking small and they can grow. And that's a man after my own heart, right? So what if I can fly to Africa with my woman and friends in a private jet on my way to my TED talk? Right? So when you talk about there was separate things, but if I can combine them, that's what I'll do. So I have my list of things that I want to do in life, and I'm just trying to figure out how to do them right now. So I expect to be in Africa in 2021. Pandemic. If the pandemic is gone away, that is my next planned trip, and I want to do it.
Checking on you about that.
What's that?
I'll check in on you at the end of 2021. But that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you share from your wisdom and knowledge. And I wish you all the best in all your dreams and visions, endeavors, everything you're doing. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I would say be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point. Bye.